Unfortunately, to a degree, although I think it's a wonderful opportunity for any service director, service leader watching this, unfortunately, to a degree, we know that sales tends to be in its own silo over here. In a lot of organizations, and service will be over here. The people that understand servitization are going to be on our in our part of the business. You know, they're going to be the service operations guys. They're going to be the guys that understand the customer pain points and why this is the route forwards, because we're solving problems. Those on sales are probably going to see servitization as an overly complex route that might hit their paycheck month by month. You know, it's far less attractive to sell a servitized subscription model than it is to sell that one big capex box. So there's a battle there as well. And I think, Mike, the other part of this is again, it's making sure that, I don't want to labour this point, but I can't help but move past it. It's making sure that the information flows across different systems. This has been touched on a little bit by Dan, making sure that the data that is incredibly valuable to us as service operations people, actually, there's layers within that will be incredibly useful for the sales team, incredibly useful for HR, incredibly useful for development. And I think perhaps that's not necessarily a servitization thing, but servitization brings it more and more the spotlight on it. The data, it's critical now, isn't it, Mike? The data has to not just be sat in one silo on one FSM system. It has to be able to move across the business.
Absolutely. And that today's world is really where companies can differentiate, is on that data and turning it into something of value, right? Whether it's improving their own sales, improving their own customer service, reducing their costs. Right? There's been many areas that can touch on, and that is why it is critical for those organizations, particularly on the sales side, to understand how it impacts those other departments and what value it can bring to it. Because really, the bottom line, selling a consulting engagement where you're going to put X number of people onto a project for X amount of time is a very different sale than a servitization model, which is also different than a product, because products usually have, a feature sheet. Here's all the features, and you can kind of compare one to the other, whereas service type products are, a little different for the organization. And they have to be able to see enough value in it to take that leap of going from a project where they know they're going to have a tangible deliverable to a service, where they are kind of paying for it over a set period of time. So those are all really big driving factors for making the sales model different than what you would typically see in a non-servitization model.
Whilst we're on the topic of sales, Mike, I'm going to pick on you for 2 questions in a row now, so I apologise in advance. But I think this is a neat segue. I want to look, and I'll bring the data up in a moment, at some of the fundamental technologies. But I want to draw back to, you mentioned right at the top as we were doing the introductions, your background as a field service technician in your past. For me, there's no one better placed to at least be able to observe the challenges the customer sees on a day-to-day basis and start seeding some of the conversations than the field service technician and the guys that are our eyes, ears on site, the trusted advisors. But it's been the perennial challenge that all service organizations face. Technicians, engineers, they don't want to be sales guys. That's why they're technicians and engineers. Do you ever think, and this is just an aside, but do you think there is a nice way to marry those two to bring the advantages of having that subject matter expert that is on site and is trusted by the customer and can see the customer's challenge? Can that easily be related? Is that something that technology can solve as well?
Yeah, I believe absolutely. And it's not maybe necessarily the technology that solves that, but a technical person in that environment typically has instant kind of recognition, as opposed to, say, a salesperson. So a salesperson walks in with this technical person, somebody asks a technical question, they're immediately looking to the technical guy to help answer that question. And so that's, a very different skill set. And when you have a servitization model that is focused on, helping certain problems, then that makes it easier, I think, for that technical person to help the client see that value and why they might want to invest that versus, say, a long project. So certainly those technical skills that know that servitization model can certainly benefit from that.
Yeah, it comes back to your point around having multiple hats now. It's where these lines are very much should be blurred across in the servitization model. Sales and service need to come closer together, and it's again going back to the point we made earlier that it touches on so many aspects of the business. I mean, it's flipping the entire business model on its head to a degree, and that's where I think there's caution that's required as well. Hi there, Kris here from Field Service News. Hope you're doing well. Just a quick reminder that if you've caught your timing right on this and you're watching it as it's current, so July 2023, then you will be able to access the full-length version of this discussion. Just head over to FSN Free. There's links, depending on where you're watching this. If you're watching it on YouTube or LinkedIn, there's links below. If you're watching it from our site, the links may be to the side or at the bottom of the page, depending on what browser you're using and whether you're on mobile or desktop. But there will be a link below that will allow you to access the full content, taking about less than 30 seconds. You can sign in with LinkedIn now as well, and it's forever free, and you'll get a selection of monthly resources, and this month this is one of the great resources that's there. Always the resources are premium quality content, so it's worth signing up 30 seconds of your time. Go and check that out. Enjoy the rest of the video. Thanks for your time. Take care. Bye bye.